Hi guys, welcome back to the latest edition of Pull the Pin, the Grenade podcast with me, Alan Barratt. And this week we've got a super special guest, none other than vlogging superstar, one of the top bloggers in the UK. He's smiling, he knows it's him. It's only Alfie Deyes. Alfie, welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Oh no, thanks for coming. We're amazed you accepted, to be honest. Everyone else turns us down. So yeah, we suckered you. We suckered you.
The imaginations run wild.
Lovely chair.
I'm not quite sure I've grown up yet, to be honest.
The irony of the whole thing here is that I'm a radio DJ and I have a business degree.
So,
like every shop in the local area was trying to sue me for loss of footfall for like 15 grand each.
yeah, go bankrupt in style.
Was amazing because it's just so different from anywhere else I've travelled.
I apologise to the fans. You'd not like to get a sensible answer from either of us. Thanks so much. I mean, where do we start? What a career. Amazing. So tell us a bit about yourself. Tell us a bit about your blog. You've now got 42 trillion followers and growing. You know, where did it start? You're one of the best known bloggers in the UK. You're 15 years old, I think. How'd you get going?
So I started like 2009 on YouTube when YouTube wasn't really known for...
You didn't invent YouTube, did you?
No.
No, okay, just checking.
Unfortunately not. That would have been a good one. That would have been a very good one. But no, when I started, like, basically YouTube back then was more or less just like cat and dog videos and like viral videos of you sharing, like, oh, look at this cute baby laughing, and then you share it, email it to your friend. But there was like a really small selection of people that were making like content just for YouTube regularly. And I watched those people a little bit, and then I just thought, why not give it a go myself? Yeah. And I just tried it out, got my little family holiday camera, put it on a stack of books in my room, wait till everyone was at the house, and then I filmed my first video, which was me playing Monopoly by myself.
Really?
Yeah.
And that was well received?
I don't think it was
well
well. I think
yourself?
persistence over the first year made it more well received. Like that video didn't get any views. It probably got like 10 views or something.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
I can't imagine why. But when you play Monopoly by yourself, do you still cheat? Because I do.
Yeah, I probably do.
Yeah, okay.
I probably do.
It does defeat the object, doesn't it?
And I've been caught on video actually cheating in Monopoly. My family have a video of me pretending to go to the toilet once and taking money from the bank as I leave.
When I was young, no one would play any board game or anything with me at all just because of the cheating.
Would you get away with it?
Yeah, I was quite good at it, to be fair, but then I'd win very convincingly, and then they'd try and work out retrospectively how I cheated. I was such a little shit when I was a kid. I actually sold my sister her own bedroom furniture. Yeah, for £3. I did for £3. I'm not making it up. Yeah, for £3. Yeah, for £3. So I stole it, sold it back to her for £3.
Did she know it was hers? But
yeah, she knew it was hers. Had no choice. Held her to ransom. And and then I used the money I spent it on an arcade. I spent the whole lot on Operation Wolf. And what did your friends and your parents think of you doing this? Because back then, it's like with peer pressure and stuff. Did all your friends take the piss? Did they think it was weird? Or did you have no friends and that's why you started blogging? I
had a lot of friends. And
we'll take your word for that. People are going to write in now and go, no, he didn't.
Yeah, definitely didn't. No,
we're going to need proof. We'll need proof you actually had friends.
Please, for anyone who's friends with me in school, can you comment?
Please, comment. Please. Yeah. I bet we get 2.
What was I going to say? Yeah, so because I did it and I didn't tell anyone, because it was like YouTube was not as popular, it's a bit of a weird thing to be doing. I didn't want my family to know, I didn't want my friends to know. So I made videos for probably like a year without anybody knowing.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay.
And
for that reason, because you're worried what they think, you're worried what people would say.
Yeah, because it wasn't what it is now.
No, fair enough.
So like right now the mindset is like, oh, but what's wrong with doing that kind of thing?
Yeah,
like, it's so popular now, but back then it was so weird and niche to be doing. Like, why would you want to talk to a camera? Like, who's watching you? Do you know what I mean? If your friends aren't watching, then who's watching? And why do you want those random people watching you?
Yeah, it makes sense.
So I did it for like a year, and I think I had 1,600 subscribers on YouTube, which back then was
a lot.
Big. Yeah, it was a lot back then. Like the number one on the platform probably had 1 million, if that, maybe 500,000. And I went to the cinema once with 5 friends of mine, and these 3 boys came up and they were like, oh my God, Alfie, can we get a picture? And it was the first time it had ever happened to me. And I was like, this is crazy. I was like, this is insane. I don't know what to do. And all my friends are like, what the heck is going on? Like, why do they want a picture of you? Because they didn't know I make videos.
Of course, yeah.
So I was like, I think the best thing to do here, can you explain to my friends why you want a picture with me? So that then I don't have to explain it myself.
Yeah, good, cool.
So what strangely happened was my friends found out about the weird thing I was doing in the most coolest situation possible. So they couldn't rinse me because people were stopping me in the street knowing who I was. So it was successful.
Okay.
So it was like, what you're doing is really weird and niche, but you must be doing well at it because you're now getting stopped in the street. So we kind of can't rinse you for it.
And what were the chances of some of these subscribers and viewers, the
Yeah.
fact that they were kind of local? as
Crazy.
such? But I guess that's why they started following anyway, because they realised you were fairly local to them.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
It was just so weird, but the best scenario of people finding out. Like, it wasn't like somebody stumbled across a video and then people were like laughing, being like, yo, this is weird, what are you doing?
They were taste videos, weren't they? You said you were doing stuff online. They weren't. You were clothed.
They were me playing Monopoly. Quite the
Okay,
opposite.
yeah, okay.
No, only one was Monopoly. All the others were just like, I don't know, me just chatting about topics.
Okay.
Me just kind of, I suppose, like a podcast, but super short. Me just talking about topics that interest me to nobody, because I didn't really have many people watching. I didn't know the people watching.
Okay.
Because they weren't friends or anything, because nobody knew.
Do you find that now that have you had fans become friends, and have you had, and more importantly, I guess, have your friends kind of become fans? Because I've noticed that now with Grenade, where I'm just me, and I've had the same set of friends. I'm generally quite good at keeping in touch with people. So, and I've got friends from all walks of life. And, I used to be an unqualified gym instructor back sort of 20 years ago, and all the guys that trained at that gym, I'm still friends with. But I find a lot of they kind of turn into fans, and it makes you feel a bit uncomfortable, because does that put pressure on your friendship as such? They look at you differently?
I don't think they look at me differently. I think I've definitely had like people that watch the videos because my videos are so much about my life. I filmed it every day of my life for like 4.5 years.
Oh, wow.
So because of that, the people do online really know me for me. So I have definitely made friendships for sure.
Yeah.
And like some of my like really good friends I've met via YouTube from watching each other's videos. The only time I'd say that it's happened when like friends are fans, I wouldn't say fans, but sometimes like a friend will come over to my house and be like, oh, can I grab a glass of water, and know exactly the cupboard to go to. And then I'm like, and then they're like, well, I've seen in your videos so many times you go to get like, that's where you get your glasses from. And I like it because it's just them like supporting, like just being interested, seeing what I'm up to. But like sometimes there'll be tiny little signs where I'm like, you've been watching the videos, haven't you?
It's when they know where your underwear drawer is.
Yeah. But I guess so many people put so much of their life online now that people just know from Instagram stories and stuff what everyone's up to.
Yeah, of course. And what did your parents think then? So again, you said you didn't tell them.
Yeah.
When they found out, did you tell them? Did they find out? Were they supportive? Do you think it's weird? Because, for instance, my parents, they don't really know what I do. They're very proud. Yeah, they'd be proud of me no matter what I did. If I just went out and just...
They know you've got custom M&Ms.
Yeah, they know I've got customised grenade. They actually don't know that, but they will now. Customised grenade M&Ms. That's a separate topic, guys. But yeah, my dad always worked for himself, worked really hard.
Yeah. And
he just kind of didn't really have any aspirations for me. He didn't like me going to the gym, for instance, because he thought a lot of people there were a bad influence when I was 15. And he was absolutely right. The gym was full of criminals. So he was completely right to try and keep me away from the gym. But they'd have been proud, I think, no matter what I'd done. But yeah, they I send them pictures of our warehouse and thousands of pallets. And of course, they go into Holland and Barratt or Marks and Spencer's, and they go
anywhere.
And they go up to like the cashiers, and they take the product up to the cashier and go, our son owns this, he made this. And they go, great, do you want to buy it? They're like, no, because we can get them for free. And then it was really irritating if you work in a shop. But they're in their 70s. So what did your parents think? Were they kind of horrified? Were they supportive? Were they pleased? Didn't understand?
So I was in like, I'm trying to think when they found out. I was probably in like year 10 or 11.
Mm-hmm. So and they must have wondered what you were doing in your bedroom all that time. Not what they thought you were doing, probably.
Yeah, like I'm up there editing videos. And they were always super, super supportive. I can't remember the moment of them like knowing or finding out. I can't remember that moment.
Well, what do they do? What are their jobs? What were their jobs?
So my dad, both of them are retired now.
Okay.
So mum managed a team of social workers.
Okay.
For like 30 years. And my dad ran the ICT for LSE University.
Okay.
Like very academic, ran all the ICT for like the Great Britain's police as well and
Okay.
stuff previously. So very like went to Oxford early, like a year early and stuff.
Okay.
It's very just straight academic. So this is obviously like the complete opposite. This is just like super creative, no particular like.
Yeah.
I didn't like in college. I did chemistry, maths, biology, and geography. Like the complete opposite from like film and media and stuff.
Oh wow, okay. But I guess if your mom was like doing social work and stuff, I guess she understood kind of an element of community and educating people and helping people in a sense of community. So, and I guess that's really all online stuff is. It's just a different form of community.
Yeah.
And I guess must be blown away by what you do now.
Super proud, love it, love getting involved. They understand everything about it. Like my dad especially is just so interested and just loves it, just knows everything about it.
Okay.
Always helped out with like financial advice and stuff. And yeah, I think because I've been doing it for so long, I've been doing it over 10 years now. It's like, I remember like having a chat with them, like, look, I need to start missing some college classes because I'm going to go and help YouTube design and build out their app because they didn't have a mobile app at the time.
Okay.
And they're like, okay, it's getting serious now kind of thing. Like, yeah, we don't mind you missing out.
And the fact you kind of, I suppose, you know, fell into this, lots of people do. And I'm a really big believer, I think, in all the best stuff in life, whether, you know, it's what you've done and what you do. And then certainly, you know, how we got started. And then, you know, even like, you know, the guys at Gymshark and, you know, a lot of the adventurers we work with and, you know, Steve Bartlett from Social Chain, they all kind of just fell into doing something they love and just somehow made a career out of it, but all organically. And I'm a big believer, I think, in all the best things happen organically. You can steer things a bit when you kind of get on the path. But I guess obviously you just never look back in terms of, you know, what would you have done if this hadn't taken off?
Yeah.
What do you think, what would have you done at 16, 17?
So I went to college and I applied for uni and got offered an unconditional because of the videos. I showed them the videos as my like interview. Which then only aided for me to be able to spend more time doing it because they were like, you don't need grades, so we've offered you the position off the back of the videos. Yeah.
Oh,
so
wow,
I was like,
okay,
now I can then spend more time making these videos. But I guess like what you're saying about the passion is like, nobody's going to put in the amount of time and effort 24/7 a day like you do into a grenade unless it's a passion.
Yeah, you've got to love it.
So yeah, like the people that you're speaking about that have made their passion into a job, but that it only works because it's a passion.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
and I guess, you know, and we'll come on to sort of success and what defines success and stuff in a minute, because I think all the network I'm kind of talking about, you know, including myself, we never really consider ourselves as being successful because it doesn't really enter your head. You're just doing something that you love. People get benefit out of it, and I think. For me, I don't know if it's the same with you, hasn't quite sunk in yet. Has it actually sunk in? Because you're only sort of, were you still 25?
26.
26,
yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
Has it actually, do you ever wake up and just think, I don't quite know how I found myself here, but I like it. And has it sunk in? Or I suppose you don't know any different now.
I don't think it's sunk in. I definitely don't think it's
nice,
sunk
though.
in.
That's a nice trait.
I think I just wake up every day and I'm like, shit, I get to do something I love every day.
Yeah.
Like every day I'm genuinely doing something I love. And I always remind myself how fortunate I am to be in that position of just enjoying what I do day in, day out.
Because you could be up breaking rocks for a living.
And that's so bloody lucky to have to do that.
Yeah, I mean, it's great to recognise that. And I think obviously we started chatting early this year. And I think from when we first met, my big takeaway was, you know, I've met loads of influencers and bloggers, you know, over the time through business. And you watch them online. And then when you actually meet them in real life, they're not quite the person that you think they're going to be. But actually, when I met you were just you. You know, and I mean that in the nicest possible way. But you know, but great personality.
Just as boring as you are.
Just as dull, frankly. You've just
No.
kind of made this whole living of you just being you. And I guess the fact it spanned 10 years already, it's clearly sustainable. You know, are your viewers still coming on the journey with you and people dropping off? You're getting new subscribers all the time, or is it still the same consistent people you've had for 10 years? You're kind of growing up together?
Yeah, I love that question. It's like, I don't think I could put on some act or facade or character.
I do.
Because I've been doing it for 10 years. I'm like, you'd slip up or you'd get caught out in like a restaurant doing something. It was stupid. You'd be being filmed by somebody, or do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I filmed every day of my life for 4.5 years. So I'm like, what you see is literally what I am in real life. So I appreciate you saying that.
No,
But
that's, and I mean that as the nicest possible compliment, because they always say, don't you, as well, you should never meet people you look up to, you should never meet idols and stuff. And we've spent a lot of time through Virgin and with Richard Branson and whatever, and he's just, again, the nicest person. What you actually think he's going to be like, he's even better. But it's quite unusual. We've met loads of other sort of famous people and celebrities, and you're a bit like, sometimes a bit underwhelmed.
Yeah, definitely. And that's what I think the audience have watched for so long. Like, when you're talking about trying to gain a new audience or that, I'm never trying to, and I've never tried to gain the biggest audience possible or have certain numbers or views or anything. For me, I'm like, this started out by just me making videos that I like making. So it's got to carry on that way. As soon as I start going into like what works well or what doesn't work well at that, I no longer have a job that I love. So I'm like, no matter what, as long as I can pay the bills, I've got to just do what I love. Otherwise, I'm sitting here online telling everyone to like, chase your dreams, get a job that you love, do more of what makes you happy every day. And then I'm now making videos I don't enjoy making just because they're doing well. So I'm like, but then that's not doing well anymore because I'm not enjoying it. So I'm like, I'm not fussed about the size of the audience or anything. I just make what I love making. And luckily, people have been following along for 10 years, which is crazy.
And that just reaffirms the point. That just sums it up beautifully, because I don't know if you realise how rare that is. Because, from our perspective as well, we sell a lot of supplements, but actually, we don't set out to sell supplements. We're building a brand and having fun, and people are kind of coming along for the journey, very much like they are with you. And I'm always going out and people saying, well, why should I take supplements? And the first thing we say is, well, actually, you shouldn't. No one needs supplements. Can you get a perfect diet? Do you eat a perfect diet? 99.9% of people say, well, no. Well, in that case, you need supplements.
Well, there we go then. Yeah.
And I think it's just that refreshing honesty of just not trying to sell people something, and you're
People
not trying to sell people you.
That these days.
They do, because it's rare.
It's the opposite.
Yeah, I know it is.
Oh my gosh,
and I think, and that's where really, and this is where this podcast has come from in terms of making your mark and disrupting and how you disrupt the competition. And if you and we and whatever can just disrupt the competition by just being us, brilliant, because actually it's easy to be you every day. In that sense, you don't have to put as much thought into waking up and kind of being someone else every day. And this is a massive responsibility for you. You're influencing millions and millions and millions of people, so tremendous pressure, especially when you're like late teenager and having this follower. I guess you feel responsible for what you post. You've got to obviously keep it relevant and authentic, but it's a tremendous sense of responsibility. Is the stuff you wouldn't post? Is the stuff you'd like to post but can't?
It's a difficult one, because I'm like, people say to me like Instagram or that, they're like, oh, but like, how and when do you post? What do you post? Because so many people are like seeing it or whatever. And I'm like, no, I try and treat my Instagram exactly the same as anybody else would treat their own personal Instagram. Because again, that is why people started following, because I just used it like anybody else would use it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I try not to have like some like strategy or anything like this. But I remember probably about 7 years ago, I tweeted a tweet, and it was the first time something ever happened where I was like, okay, shit, there's responsibility, like there's weight on my shoulders now for what I say. I've got to be careful. I've just got to be aware.
Okay. So what was the tweet?
I don't know why I tweeted it. I tweeted saying something along the lines of, I find girls with short hair attractive. And I didn't have like that many people following me on Twitter. But I remember the next day I got 6 tweets of girls who had cut their hair short. And I was like, shit, okay. Now I've said that and someone's taken that and like actioned cutting their hair because of my tweet. I just need to be aware.
Yeah,
that's the thing. In case I say something stupid one day whilst drunk or something, and then people would take it. I don't know. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, so incredible, really. And then what's it like to kind of then, when was the first time you realised you'd actually got some kind of power? I mean, it's not like a superhero power. We'll come on to that in a bit. But it must be quite, is that sunk in yet? The fact that you can just say, do stuff and people just go and do it? I wish people did that at work, Frankie, when I told them to do stuff.
No one does it.
So, yeah, just, guys, if we can all actually try and sell some stuff this month, as opposed to fighting with Nerf guns and farting around and all the other stuff we normally do. That would be a welcome relief. It must feel bizarre to have that kind of influence over people.
I never really think about it. And
You just get used to it,
think
take it.
about it. Like, there's been moments for sure where I'm like, again, it's like brought to my awareness kind of thing that it's happened. So I remember like my first ever book signing, 2013, brought out a book, and my book publishers were like, we had David Beckham here last week kind of thing. It was Waterstones, Piccadilly in London. He had 700 people turn up, and like we had managed to handle it all fine. I was like, okay, can we do this ticketed though? And they were like, no, we can't do it. We want as many people to be able to sell as many books as possible to come. And I was like, okay, but I really think it should be ticketed, and they wouldn't do it. So then I'm like, I mentioned in one video that it was happening, that I was going to be doing a book signing, come down, and literally and I was filming every day at that point. I mentioned it in one video like a couple of days before, maybe like a week before. And I remember I was I was so unaware of what was about to happen. I was going to get the train to London to go to the book signing. And then Zoe had a photo shoot, my girlfriend had a photo shoot in London. And I was like, and she had a taxi book, just a normal taxi. And I was like, I'll just jump in there rather than get the train. So he's got in this normal taxi, no black door windows, nothing. And I'm like, excuse me, do you mind just dropping me to Piccadilly, like Waterstones on the way? And didn't tell him why or anything. And he's like, yeah, cool. And then whilst we're in the car, I'm getting texts from my book publishers like, you need to tweet now telling people not to come. And I'm like, well, I'm not tweeting now. It hasn't even started yet. And they were like, it's really busy kind of thing. You need to tweet. I arrive, 15 police horse, 3 police helicopters, 8,500
And they were there to see you? Or
8,500
crowd
people.
Control?
Yeah. So then I turned up and it was just like the worst book signing possible. Like the car was ridiculous, just got absolutely like...
Is that a bit scary?
Punched apart kind of thing. And like, yeah, it's super scary because I'd never expected that. I didn't think about that happening. Like they were like, we had David Beckham last week, he had 700 people and we managed.
So, but I do you know what though? I love
But it was
the
like the
fact-
least successful thing is what I'm trying to say. It was counterproductive. I've managed to get inside. I met probably like 100 people probably before the police came in and was like, the doors are going to break, you have to get you out of here kind of thing. I got taken away to another part of London with like the police and everything. And then all these people that had come to the book signing didn't get to get this book signed.
Yeah.
So I was like, again, I have to be aware for a safety point of view.
Yeah.
That's not good. Like that wasn't a successful, like, that was crazy.
It's quite cool though, isn't it?
Yeah, but it
is quite cool. Admit it. It's quite cool.
No, it was
quite
cool.
It's quite cool.
It was cool, but it was so counterproductive. And I just felt so sorry for people that had come from far and didn't even get the experience that they wanted.
But, do you know, 2 things with that? I love the humility of the fact that you just kind of jump in and you don't expect success or expect things to go well, which is really nice. Because I think nowadays, people just expect everything to go viral. Yeah. And then when it doesn't, they're like, well, why not? And, people do really try and engineer this stuff. So I love the fact, again, it's happened organically because I think, that's great testament, to yourself. And I think also the fact that you really care about the fact, your fans.
Yeah, people queuing up, they didn't even get to see me.
Yeah, didn't get to see. Yeah, I mean, did you get a kind of a negativity about them? Any complaints about that?
I didn't get negative or any complaints because I think people understood. Like, they could probably
wasn't your
see
fault.
me and see the video the next day of me being like, this is not what we planned. Like this did not go to plan. Do you know what I mean?
I love the fact Waterstone said tweet and tell people not to come because you know what's going to happen then. People who didn't know about it think, well, feel the missing out because we're that kind of culture where we don't want to miss out on stuff. So more people turn up. So
but, like every shop in the local area was trying to sue me for loss of footfall for like 15 grand each. And then we're having to like negotiate with them being like, it's not my fault that there was loss of footfall. We tried to make it a ticketed event and then it all ended up fine, and we just held a load more book signings, all ticketed, all around as close as possible time-wise, so that people could still come and meet me and get the book signed and that. So it all got like resolved as much as it could do. But again, it was just like a reality check.
I mean, in terms of the type of content you post, I know you sort of touched on this.
Yeah.
Is anything off limits at all? You've really let people into your life.
Yeah.
How filtered is that? Be honest. I mean, when the cameras stop, is it all genuine? Is you being you, or is the stuff? Are you glad when the cameras go off? You must be, because it must be like living in a goldfish bowl all the time with people looking at you.
But that became, when I was doing the everyday, that was my norm.
Okay.
So
So you just used to
like,
it.
it wasn't like I was filming or like I was like working or making a video or anything. It was like that was the norm. That was what I do. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm sure now when you're like working out 4 or 5 times a week.
Thank you.
Or
You've
whatever
noticed.
You do, yeah. So how much you work?
Once or twice. And for that, on that note, how important? Because I know you're really into your fitness, which is like we sort of met in the first place.
Yeah.
Is that the same for you? Is that your bit of release? Do you feel a responsibility to kind of get that fitness message across to your followers? How important is training and fitness to you?
I've always been interested. I've always just been like super active in general. Like when I was younger, I did a lot of like competitive gymnastics, and I've done every sport you can imagine for a team. I've just always been super active. Yeah, for me, being active is like, I try and describe it to people as like, I just realised they're the same tables as in my parents' house. These are
okay. They probably are your parents. I'll happily sell them.
Steal them and then sell them?
Yeah, I've been rumbled. I was going to sell them back to them, but these aren't £3. Only the first one's £3.
I'll let them know.
Yeah, they can have them back.
No. What about delivery?
Yeah, delivery's extra, I'm afraid. Sorry. You can take one back with you.
Take one at a time.
Take one at a time. I forgot what we were talking about
What
now.
was I saying?
Fitness. You were saying about fitness.
So for me, it's like, I always try and describe it to friends is, it's so easy to be caught up in social media and online so much these days of always being on your phone. Like you go to a restaurant and you see a couple sat at the table or a group of friends and everyone's on their phone, and I'm like, this is shit.
I was going to say, how do you feel about
phones down and live in the real world a lot more than what we currently do. And for me, working out, whether that's training in the gym, whether that's playing squash, whether that's going bouldering, like I love bouldering, like free climbing. For me, doing that is like not only time where I'm not on my phone or thinking about work or emails or social media or anything, but it's also time where like if I'm not concentrating on what I'm doing, then I fail.
Yeah.
Like I love snowboarding because if you're not thinking about actually snowboarding, you fall over.
You're off. Yeah, fair enough.
So I
do flying for that reason. I do sometimes take selfies flying, which I shouldn't do really. But no, I'm the same because you have to. It is still work. So I know it doesn't feel like work and you enjoy it, but it's still something that has to be done for X amount of hours a day. With your content and stuff. So completely agree. You have to have something where you can switch off a bit.
Be in the zone, yeah.
Because if you don't, you just kind of go mad. And I think for me, I'm always really scared of getting complacent and almost falling out of love what I do. It's one of my biggest fears. So I think anything I can do that keeps it fresh and active, for me, is well worth doing. So, I do like shooting, flying, that sort of stuff. Just so again, you've not got phones out all the time.
How strict is your like work-life balance?
My work-life balance is horrific. So I've never really got this figured out, and it's kind of, I'm on this search for like work-life balance. I think because with this business, it's different, I guess, for yourself because you're kind of more in the here and now, and you can move around content-wise, anywhere you like, just in terms of being you. Because we kind of ultimately make and sell stuff, and we work with big retailers, and it has to go on shelf, and there's lots of physical things that have to keep moving around. We're probably having a moment in time where, thank God, really, people are getting more health conscious, which is great. I don't see that changing, but people are kind of turning to our stuff over chocolate and crisps and other snacks, which I think is brilliant. And I hope that never goes away. But, if it does go away in future and things change, I don't ever want to look back and think, do you know what, I had an opportunity there and I blew it.
Regret, man.
So because I think, again, regret, one of my biggest fears. I don't think I've regretted anything I've done, but I would definitely regret things I haven't done. So I don't know if that's the same, with you. I'd hate to look back and go, oh, I really
that's one of my
that.
biggest fears is being like 80. And I don't think, hopefully by 80, I literally wouldn't care as well of like regretting things I've done. But again, just the things you hadn't done.
Yeah. And it sounds...
Or things you hadn't tried or things like...
Yeah, it sounds, and we talk about this quite a lot in terms of the fact that, at that point, we'll probably come on to the success question.
Yeah.
Do you consider yourself successful, or what does success mean, do you think, to you? Because everyone's got a different answer on this. There's kind of no right or wrong answer. Because you clearly are successful. I think you're successful. But is that how you see it?
For me, I reckon success is just straight like... I think my answer for it has changed a lot in the last 2 years. Because I've worked a lot on my work-life balance, for sure.
Okay.
And I think for me... it's just purely linked to like happiness.
Okay, yeah, I'm the same. Health and happiness.
I've seen and met, and I'm sure you have as well, so many people that have more typically successful things than you can imagine.
Yeah.
And they are losing more than you can imagine because they don't have time.
Yeah.
And time's the big one.
Yeah. Once it's gone, it's gone.
Yeah.
And I think, I completely agree. I think for me now, success is kind of just being healthy and happy.
Yeah.
And it's nice being financially stable and whatever. So that's fantastic. And that does give you options. But all it does really is give you options.
Yeah.
I mean, give an example. A friend of mine, he was telling me a few weeks ago, he just did an enormous flotation for his business and it was in the billions. And
Casually?
Casually. Yeah. Incredible. And he's just so ridiculously laid back and humble about it. It's really lovely, and it's one of the reasons actually we're friends. But he said in a way that when he did this with his business, he felt like he'd lost part of himself, and he was actually quite depressed. And it's incredible how you can sort of take something, make it, sell it, and then lose something. He felt he lost part of himself. It's been replaced by this inconceivable wealth, but it doesn't plug the gap of what he feels he's lost.
But that's what I think the message of like success pushed by everybody, whether it's the media, people, whoever, is typically wealth.
Yeah.
Of course, there is a certain level of living standard that comes over happiness of being able to survive and pay your bills.
Of course.
Everything.
Yeah.
But if that's achieved, after that, I feel like it's just pure happiness.
Anything else a bonus. Yeah.
Anything else is just
No, that's not. And again, that I don't want to sound patronising, but for someone of your age and what you've done and what you're doing, that's such a nice response. It really is, because it's really unusual. Because for a 26-year-old, you've just got such a mature, wise head on your shoulders. You've got all this responsibility. No, I'm glad. I don't give many compliments on this show. The team will back me up here. That's actually, I'm really blown away by that, because that's genuinely really unusual. And this came across when we met you earlier in the year, and we thought, actually, I want to know more. And genuinely with us, and a lot of the guys that we work with, you'll know, like Carl Lockham and people like that. And we just want to surround ourselves with brilliant people who we really like, who are can just be them. And we just share all these same values, because it's quite unusual. It really is. When you say that. So that's absolutely fantastic.
I think one thing as well, I was speaking to somebody the other day, and be interesting to know your point of view on this. Somebody said to me the other day, like, what's the goal? And I was like, I don't think there is a goal, because as soon as you open that door, say, I don't know, the goal is to do, I don't know, whatever it is, sell X amount of grenade products this year, you open that, now there's just another door.
Yeah.
Like there is never going to be, I've achieved the end goal, I'm done. There is no done. There is no end goal. There is no achievement. It's just on to the next thing.
And this is why, exactly, because life's about setting yourself little achievable targets, and I think everyone should do that. Short, medium, and long-term goals.
I'm a big fan of that.
Yeah. So I
write everything down. In my notes in my phone is like.
And actually, that's one thing. I think in the end, that's why I started a brand, because a brand is never finished.
Yeah.
So it always evolves, and I genuinely want to build something really iconic. So, that I can kind of dedicate my life to building something like that, because when I've done other things, you set out to achieve them. I was in a plane crash years ago. So after we crashed it, and I wasn't flying at the time, but my friend was. And after you've crashed an aircraft into a potato field and walked away, the day before Christmas Eve, this was. And then the front page of the headline was like, 4 survived plane crash nightmare. I decided from that point I wanted to go and learn to fly a plane. So I did that.
As you do.
But then I did my exams and I passed in the minimum amount of time that was allowable, which was 45 hours at the time.
Did you?
I flew solo at like 5 hours, which is unheard of. So
Someone said to me the other day about 45 hours, and I was like,
I flew solo at 5.
I was like, no. You flew solo at what?
I flew solo about 5 hours. I think it was about 5.5 hours, which is unheard of for someone who hadn't. But again, I think I was kind of fairly...
And after crash, being in a plane crash.
But I think, you see, that gave me... What's the chance... I don't want to tempt fate now. I've said this actually multiple times on podcasts, that I probably will end up dying in a plane crash. Touch wood. Touch your parents' furniture. But what's the chances of being in two? To actually be in a plane crash, you'd have to fly every day for 20,000 years statistically to stand a chance of actually being in a plane crash. It's incredibly rare. To be in two is like, really?
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of in the billions. But
So you've ticked it off now.
well,
It's been done.
So no, but actually what happened was with the goal setting, I've decided I'd go and learn to fly. So I did. And I didn't really think about what would happen beyond that. So I passed my test and it was like, oh, goal ticked. But then I hadn't really got a plan for aviation or flying beyond passing my pilot's license.
Yeah.
So then I didn't fly then for 18 years.
Then did you have to do it again?
Yes. How do you cope with going places and people recognise you and know who you are? Because I guess it's nice to a point, but it must be a real hindrance.
I mean, it's kind of all I've known in terms of, because I've been doing it for so long and
I get you.
I'm
You
still
don't know
quite
differently.
young.
Yeah. Okay.
But I think I'm super fortunate because I am very much myself online and everything. Everyone that stops and says hello and stuff like that in the streets, number one, literally knows me because they know everything about me from my videos.
Yeah.
And it's
They know
all
more
such-
about you than you.
like, honestly do. Like people will be like, oh yeah, your haircut looks really good. And I'm like, oh yeah, I did get my haircut yesterday. Yeah, like, I forgot about that. Do you know what I mean? But everyone's just so positive.
Yeah.
So
nice.
I think I'm very fortunate where every interaction is just really, really nice.
But that's coming from you because you're exuding positivity.
Yeah.
If you exuded negativity, you'd find that you get lots of negative
Yeah,
stuff
for
back because
sure.
one definitely breeds the other.
Definitely.
Without a shadow of a doubt.
Definitely.
So I'm a massive believer in you do reap what you sow. So what's the scariest thing then? Going back to the fan piece. So what's the scariest thing that a fan has ever done?
The scariest thing.
That's genuinely that must have been quite scary outside Waterstones.
Scary thing.
Sure, can I give what happened to me? This wasn't a fan thing. This was someone that actually applied for a job. And they came into, and this was about 4 years ago. So Grenade was nowhere near as well known then. And this guy had done all of his homework about me and presented me a presentation about myself. And I just found it was the weirdest thing, and I couldn't wait to get out. I was like, this is really weird.
But he probably was sitting there thinking he had like ticked every box.
I don't know why I thought that would be a good idea to get a job at Grenade, to kind of like tell me, where I lived.
No.
Oh, yeah. So I had there weren't any photos of me that were taken
good at
night.
research, and then just tells you, this morning you had this for breakfast.
Yeah, he didn't get the job. But I mean, he wasn't probably sitting outside in a bush with like night vision goggles and a telephoto lens, but I kind of felt like he might have been. But have any fans ever kind of followed you or stalked you? Have you ever had any threats or anything? Or you'll probably get some after this.
I mean, we've had to like move house multiple times because of it and stuff, because of just so many people being outside and things. But
how long does it take before they realise you've moved? And then when you moved, you put it on your socials and go, I'm moving house, you don't know where I am.
It's just the press, isn't it? So like when we moved into our previous house, it was like every newspaper put it like front page of their newspaper, like picture of the house and everything like that. And then obviously our legal team send in letters, like my lawyers are all sending in like, you can't do that. That's actually illegal to put that much information out about where somebody lives. It's like, it's not safe. And they're like super apologetic, but it's gone to print.
Yeah,
like,
so
what's
it's too
done
late.
is
Yeah,
done.
yeah. It's great
So
apologising after the fact.
Yeah,
They're not going to
so
retract
like,
it. Yeah.
You can sue them if you want, but what's me suing them going to do?
Yeah,
Like,
they
the
sell more
address is out
papers.
there.
Yeah.
Like it just makes no difference. So what's done is done. So there's things like that that's definitely, I'm not keen on people ever coming to the house.
Yeah.
That's one thing. But in terms of like weird experiences, I find it hard to like think because it's just been so long. I'm sure when I've been on like
someone will come to you later and be like, oh yeah,
tour and stuff, there
was
must be times when I was like, must be times when I'm abroad and strange things have happened for sure.
Okay, think about it. You might.
I'll carry on thinking whilst we're chatting.
Something might come to you. So we've been sent some questions as well. So I want to try and get some of these. So right, this is actually to both of us. Okay, so if we couldn't do what we do now and could do any other mainstream job, what would it be? Right.
Ooh.
So now clearly I'd be some kind of model. Clearly.
Either model.
Yeah, for Airfix, but I would have been a porn star, but I'll be honest, I'm not really gifted enough.
Would you have been a porn? It's never too late, man. It's never too late. Switch things up.
Yeah, you never know. I think, joking aside, I think I would have either ended up probably in the army, which would be a terrible idea because I don't like being told what to do.
Not flying?
Yeah, or I think probably been a pilot. I think I probably would have been a pilot, definitely.
Yeah.
So I'd have probably done something
But
like
surely
that. I'd be dead by now.
Surely some kind of...
I'd probably be in prison, I think. I'd be a full-time prisoner. Is that a job?
Oh my.
Yeah.
Surely you'd be some kind of like... I feel like you can't get to the position you're in now without just having unbelievable communication skills. Like I find so many people that are in very strong like positions in terms of business, like yourself, are very, very good at like conversation.
Yeah, I think so. And I
surely
think
it'd be some kind of like, imagine you like, not saying this, but like selling retail.
See,
like
I've started working
luxury
cafe and warehouse.
housing.
Thanks for the endorsement.
No, but you'd be so
McDonald's.
good at, do you know what I mean? At like walking
Yeah, I
in,
think
making people feel comfortable, showing somebody around like a £10 million house and like knowing
So I'd be an
everything
estate
about it.
agent. You're digging yourself a massive hole here.
I mean, you bloody
I'm
said
joking.
porn star,
I'd be an amazing estate agent. And when I worked in a gym, I learned that personality goes a long way, and even just little things. So when and I think definitely what I lack in intelligence and ability and whatever, I can probably try and make up for it in looks. I can probably try and make up for it in other ways. And I think, just being nice to people and communicating with people. I think, working in a gym. So bearing in mind, I was on less than minimum wage. So I used to work for like under 70 quid a week, which was, under £2 an hour. But I loved it. And it's back to that learning piece where, financially it didn't pay off, but I learnt loads and I learnt more than I could have learnt by actually going to university, because I learned a lot about people. Yeah. And like you said, you're genius at communicating with people, and actually digitally, which is another skill. I can't, I can't do that. You can do it on and offline, which again is super rare, I think. But for instance, all the people that trained at this gym, I know everyone's first name.
Yeah.
And it sounds easy, but I'm quite good at remembering names.
And you've got to want to do that as well.
Yeah, and I think when someone comes in, and we had all sorts of people coming in there, and people have had good and bad days. And I think learning to read people, so when they'd kind of come in, I just think, I wonder if they've had a good day or a bad day. And you can tell straight away looking at someone. And then you go, oh, hi, so-and-so, how are you? And I think it means a lot that someone actually, knows their name.
So much.
And I think, if you can kind of do that on a bigger level, it's like you care about your consumers. I genuinely care about, ours. So I think if you care about people as well, and you can do it kind of en masse, I think, again, that's a brilliant skill. So I think, that personality goes a long way, definitely. You've still not said what you do, what you'd have ended up doing.
What I do? I mean, at college, I was like set towards doing some kind of like eco, biology, chemistry kind of thing. That's what I wanted to do, but I don't think I would have done that. I think I would have always worked for myself. I don't know what it'd be, but I feel like I was always from day one. Like I remember when I was younger, like drawing on little A4 pieces of paper, and I'm rubbish at drawing, like folding it in half and going out into the street and like putting up a little table outside my parents' house and like selling birthday cards supposedly, and like just trying to I had like a paper round, and then I'd either pay friends or ask my mum or my dad. Like my dad just loves going for morning walks, so I'd be like, surely you just walk my paper round route and do it for me, and then I still get the money. Like
brilliant. That's
so
something
I feel like
I
was always gonna work for myself, but I'm trying to think, what would it actually be realistic?
I think you've answered it. I think, again, you'd have been some kind of, you're obviously an entrepreneur, but you were always going to be an entrepreneur. Should teenagers have social media? I'm really careful with this one because of your fan base. Oh. And if you told them, actually, so if you told them to all unfollow you, would they?
Bloody hell, imagine.
Yeah. We should try that.
I've actively said in videos before, like, I've always said, like, whenever I was filming my life, like videos of my life every single day, I was like, just remind everyone you're only seeing 20 minutes roughly of a 24-hour day. Like, you're not seeing the full picture.
Yeah.
So I always reminded people that. But also, I always said, like, please feel free to not watch my videos and spend more time offline. Like, when I said earlier about people should be off their phones more and put down social media and do things that take their mind off of it, I'm actively guiding people to not do what my job is. As in terms of like interact with me on social media, of like, if that means you having a more enjoyable life being off of social media more, but then you're seeing less of people that you follow, whatever, like that is worth it. Do you know what I mean?
Well, no, I think it might have been you that told me this, actually. Apologies if it wasn't, but I think someone told me recently that one of the most sought after jobs, the most popular jobs.
Yeah, that was me.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I thought so. So yeah, if you ask
the number
teenagers
one
nowadays,
job.
the number one job they want to be is a blogger or influencer.
Yeah.
I guess.
Which is bloody scary.
It is a bit scary. Yeah.
Because I think that technically it was like something in schools and colleges. The number one, from the careers advisor, was to be a YouTuber. Like the number one most requested thing that they wanted to be was to be a YouTuber. But
why do you think that is? Is it fame? Do they think it's because it's well paid? Do they think it's because they can get paid for doing what they love and
I think
not
it's
do it?
because,
They think it's easy.
Again, because you're only seeing that one part of it. You're not seeing the full picture of what actually is going on.
Yeah.
So you're seeing super fun video.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, very, very fun to make and everything. And I love my job.
Yeah.
But people often don't see the full picture. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like imagine somebody seeing one of your new bars, being like, yo, this tastes great. And you're like, yeah, you didn't see the 3 years of
went into making
failing to make it again and again
Yeah.
and again. And it gradually got to where it is.
Yeah.
You're just seeing the finished product and you're like, yeah, this is amazing.
And all this as well in business and stuff, it's stressful, So again, I know I can only imagine what it's like to be you in terms of, you've got to be in all these different places at different times. Everyone kind of wants a bit of a piece out of you because you put your life online. Everyone feels like they've got access to you all the time. So it's kind of pretty relentless. And I guess in some respects, it can probably, and I feel like this, sometimes with business, you start to feel a bit like a carcass just being pecked at by vultures. But just and because when you're surrounded by lawyers, we've done two big private equity deals, and when you're on the phone, see the lawyers are ringing you at 2:00 in the morning, 3:00 in the morning, and before our last deal. The lawyers didn't leave their office for a week. They slept in their office, and we went up and slept with them in the office. And you just think, but it's pretty miserable and they're just living on kind of takeaway food and stuff. And they just, they have to have access to you 24/7, because someone's going to come in and, in our case, they paid tens of millions of pounds for the business and what we built. And that business is an extension of me. So, they're buying a bit of you.
Yeah,
and there's a lot of really, really invasive sort of due diligence they have to go through, because if they're going to invest millions of pounds in someone, they need to know what are you going to do with it, what they need to know everything about you, and it is kind of pretty horrible, and you do feel like you've kind of sold a bit of yourself, which I think's where that came from with a friend and his business. But it's interesting stuff. I mean, do you ever take any escape from social media? Do you ever have a week off or anything, or would you have a week off?
I definitely would, but I'm saying
Easier
I would,
said
but
than
I
done.
haven't.
Yeah,
do you know what I
okay.
mean?
Yeah,
I'm
easier said
sitting there
than
saying
done.
I would, but then the other question is, have I? No.
Okay.
So I guess it's hard again because it's like I love being on social media, but over the last year I've been very, very aware of how much time. So I don't have any social media on my personal phone. I have a work phone and a personal phone.
Okay, yeah.
And on my work phone, I've got my social medias on the last. I've got so many apps on there. I've got it on the last page.
Okay.
So if I'm ever gonna go on social media, I'm very aware I'm doing it.
You've got to go
it's
and
so
look for
easy
it.
to you go on Instagram, you then click off of it, and then 10 seconds later you're back on it, and I'm like, how am I back on? I just clicked off. It's like you don't even realise you're doing it.
Well, do you know what I've started to get now, actually? And we've figured out the reason for this. I thought it was training. I've been getting sort of tennis elbow in both elbows. And I've seen a couple of specialists about it. And someone actually hit the nail on the head what it is. And it's
no way.
Yeah, it's spending too much time on the phone. It's emailing and stuff. So I living on phones and tablets. And it's actually a problem with my thumbs, not my, because of course it's referring up into my elbows. Everything. And I think that's probably something that say to you for you to look out for. And I think the next generation certainly are going to have issues with,
especially their neck as well.
Yeah,
I think how many people
looking down. That's already starting to happen. Yeah. Necks and backs looking down. People now probably, where people have spent more time driving, they're probably spending less time driving. Yeah. But certainly more time looking down at devices. And we're going to have a whole raft of health issues, I think, where people are just constantly tapping away into the phones, and just one to look out for.
But technically, going back to the should teenagers have social media? Technically, I think I can't remember what age it is for which platforms, but I think it is 13 plus for most platforms to be able to have an account.
What about TikTok? Because I think that tends to be younger. And are you doing anything on
I'm
TikTok
not doing anything on TikTok. I love watching it, but I don't think it's a place. I don't know. I don't create anything on there at the moment.
Isn't it weird with different platforms how? So my thing's LinkedIn. So I'm on Instagram. Facebook's just kind of friends and family. I do tiny bits on Instagram. But to be honest, it doesn't really occur to me, sounds stupid, to take pictures of things I'm doing because I'm not quite that generation. So I'll do something probably really cool and after think, actually, I didn't get a picture of that. Whereas everyone else is kind of taking pictures of everything.
People these days are doing it for the picture, not to enjoy it.
Yeah. No, exactly. They're not enjoying it at the time.
Do you want to go do this fun thing? And they're like, yeah, of course, I'm going to get banging Instagram of that. Yeah, I'll do that. And then they're there trying to get the picture rather than actually enjoying
the event. Yeah, so I do try and tend to enjoy myself there, and I think about it afterwards. But yeah, LinkedIn's kind of my thing. So
LinkedIn's a good one. I like LinkedIn. I don't use it enough. But I do
you should
like
definitely do more with it as the business and whatever develops. And again, the algorithms are quite favourable, I think, for LinkedIn at the moment as well. So they're not restricting stuff. And one of the reasons, obviously, I'm incredibly interesting, as you know. But I've had posts go out and have done even I've reached 1 million views on LinkedIn. So yeah, God knows what you could do on there. But going back to the celebrity, going back to having time off social media and stuff as well. Would you ever do anything like I'm a Celebrity? Because this week, now we've known this for a while, that James Haskell, one of our team, so we knew he was going into I'm a Celebrity, and it's just leaked actually this week. The fact he's going in. Would you ever do that? And that would give you a few weeks off social media, kind of. Be bad when you came out. They must have asked you. Have they asked you?
I wouldn't do that. I've been asked to apply. I don't think you can get offered straight in. I think it's hey, do you want to apply kind of thing. I don't think I'd do I'm a Celebrity.
Really? Why not?
I just don't think I would. I don't know.
Oh, you'd be great at that.
I've been asked for a lot of the others, and there are a couple that weren't right time-wise, and especially when I was filming every day. I couldn't do stuff like that. But there's definitely shows that I've done quite a few shows, like Release the Hounds. Sick. I've done that. I've done Crystal Maze and stuff, both for charity.
Okay. What's your favourite charity out of interest?
Oh, my favourite charity. So, one thing that I don't speak about much online, that myself and my girlfriend, we have a overarching business that looks after the different companies that we own. And we did an agreement a while ago with a business advisor who got on board. And he said, I'll only get on board if you give a certain % of your revenue, so not profit, revenue, to charity every year from every business you own forever. And the same with my girlfriend. And that was the only thing he would get involved in. If not, he won't jump on board.
Okay.
And we're like, okay, let's do it. The money we give away, I don't see it as mine. And it's nice for everybody in the team of when we're working on things, people are aware of where that's going. So we have this pot of money now that is super steady, and we just spend it doing different things. So we've just opened up, we just opened up a space, a cafe for LGBTQ plus people in Brighton, that's specifically designed for people to come out to friends and family or have tricky conversations about that kind of thing and those topics, which is really nice. So there's a physical cafe that's been opened for that, and we've helped fund. We basically got the venue for them for, I think it was 6 months or maybe a year.
Okay.
And then also things just so many different random things. We opened a charity there's a cafe that doesn't open on Mondays, so we paid all the staff and for all the food and all the drinks and cakes and everything like that. So it opens every Monday for 12 weeks just to feed the local homeless people. So anyone's homeless can go along and get free food and drink and stuff like that.
Yeah, okay.
Or we bought 2 computers that you can control with your eyes for a under 18 hospice, so that the people who are used and benefit from the hospice can game and use computers and stuff like that, but they don't have access to be able to move their body.
Yeah, okay.
So they can still get involved. Or 2 tumble dryers for a local homeless charity recently that were just we just need tumble dryers, and I'm like, cool, we'll buy you 2 from the money.
Oh, that's awesome. So do you know what? And again, that for me there, that probably is the definition of success, where you're in a position where you can actually help people just less fortunate.
Yeah.
Which is brilliant, really.
Yeah.
Because that's something we've always tried to do with Grenade. Is so we've always supported a lot of military charities, and again we've got some random stuff like Save the Rhino and whatever as well, just because I got involved in that through Richard in South Africa. And again, it's just the best thing ever.
Yeah.
To be able to do something that actually makes a difference.
I went into my office the other day, and I sat on my desk, and there was a little mug that was hand painted. And I was like, what is this on my desk? And then I read the letter, and it was basically, I did a pop-up shop for a clothing brand that I have, and a young boy came along, and he's got He's disabled, and he came with his carer. And then we found out by one of our team looking at his carer's Instagram that they were fundraising for this. They basically wanted to throw like a theme park kind of thing, like a party for a lot of teenagers and children who have got disability in celebration of his birthday. So he was having a birthday party, but it was all like customized teacups, and all the rides were customized for like disabled people with disability. So like wheelchairs can get involved and stuff like that. And we're like, this is amazing. So we just paid for the party kind of thing. We matched everything so that everything could happen and all the rides and that. And then I come into the office and there's just like a hand. He's like hand painted me this little mug to say thank you, and like pictures of his party and all the customized built rides for like the different children and stuff. And it's sick.
No,
so
that's
cool.
nice. Unbelievable. No, that's super.
Yeah.
And you just and we actually haven't touched on this. I know we're running out of time, but you've mentioned as well your clothing brand, so Future Self. So what's the plans now for this? Because it's not like you haven't got other things to do because you're pretty busy. So why the clothing brand and why now? And what's the aspirations for that?
So the clothing brand was very much like the audience that watch me is such a tight knit community, and I'm always trying to push people to work on themselves. Small changes every day add up to a massive change in the future. I always see it as like if you're in a ship and you change your path by 1 degree, give it a day or so, you're not really that far. You're not really that much in a different place. If you sailed in that direction for 6 months, you're now in a completely different location to where you were originally planned.
It's like my flying.
It's like you're flying, literally like that. Hopefully not into a
I'll get there
potato
eventually.
field,
It's
though.
fine.
And so I'm like, so whether that's working out and just doing like a couple of sessions a week isn't going to be a big difference in a month or so, but give it 2 years and it's going to be massive difference. Whether that's eating healthier, whether that's just meditation, whether that's literally reaching out to friends and proper catching up and asking how they are and spending more time every week. It doesn't have to be like a big task, but it's just reminding yourself to work on yourself, whatever that may be for you, whether it's reading more books. But there's so many things in life. We're all so busy. We're always going to be so busy that it's hard to remember to just take some time and be like, I've been saying for so long that I really want to read more. How can I actually implement that in my life realistically and start doing it? So Future Self is just very much just the meaning of like small changes regularly will have a massive difference long term, and just like building a community.
I love
around
it.
that.
Brilliant. Absolutely love it. And then I've got one last question for you, because this is So Jenny's the purveyor of random questions.
Oh, no, here we go.
We've got one we normally ask, which I'm not going to ask you. We normally ask.
Is that the one that you were
people-
discussing a minute ago that was off
No.
camera?
There's nothing about that. We've been asking people rather randomly, actually, and I'm not asking you this, but if you'd rather fight a horse-sized duck or 100 duck-sized horses, I'm not going to ask you that because that's getting increasingly weird. And to be fair, we all agree that we'd rather fight a giant duck, basically.
I just want a giant duck in general. That would be the
You
sickest
can't have
pet.
one. You can have one if you want
Have
one.
you got one?
We'll get you a giant duck.
Surely
We'll
you've
get you a
got one
giant-
somewhere
get-
at this
get-
house.
Get you a giant duck. The only person in the world that thinks you want to fight 100 basically tiny horses is Jenny, and obviously she's wrong. We'd like to know, so would you rather be an unknown superhero or a famous villain?
Oh.
I think I'm already there. I think I'd rather be a famous villain.
I think unknown
I knew you'd say
superhero.
that. Yeah, I think unknown superhero.
Just superpowers would just be sick, wouldn't it?
Well, what would your superpower be?
Like, just imagine.
You've already got the
I
ability
was
to
just about to
influence.
say, imagine
You've
being
got
able
one.
to fly. You literally can't fly a plane,
you're
and you've got a plane.
You're like Magneto of the X-Men, but kind of cooler because you've got the ability to like influence millions of people. That's a superpower. I've got the ability to make chocolate.
Yeah, but you can fly.
I can fly. Yeah, but I need a machine to do it.
But you
So
can
it's not
still do it.
Yeah, I can. Yeah.
Do you think you will ever have like a?
Yeah. Oh, I know what you're going to say.
you
Jetpack.
think?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I look all the time. I'm just
Like,
waiting.
do you think you'll be ever be able to go to a meeting in London and like efficiently to be able to get to the meeting? You don't have to land on the top of the building. You don't have to have a helicopter.
In my head.
Do you think at some point in your life you'll have something where you can like just a drone that you're sitting in?
Yeah. So there's a German company I'm looking at the minute that make sort of one volocopter called, and they make kind of one-man electric helicopters like a giant drone. So I'm following those guys quite closely, but they're only going to go probably
100%. I'm coming around here when you've got that.
You've seen. So
100%.
Alfie's seen the workings of my helicopter landing pad at home, which is just a hole in the ground at the minute, but we're getting there. I'm going backwards and forwards with the guys from Gravity as well, who they did like the jetpacks. Richard Browning did the jetpacks. So
did they actually sell one? Because I thought there's one for sale in London. I saw, I don't know if it was real or not, it was like £250,000
I think
in Selfridges or something like
I
that,
think
or Harrods.
you can buy his old prototypes. I think that and I get the problem is with this as well. I guess is you're going to need to be a pilot to be able to do it, which probably isn't a bad thing. And it's going to be incredibly difficult to teach people how to do it. But I think we'll get there with the advances in technology and that. And because I think now the roads are that congested, and I love driving, but the roads are that congested, and that's why I try and fly a lot where I can. I think if we can kind of do something with the next 500 feet, above the earth, and kind of use that effectively without smacking into buildings and stuff.
Or like Elon going underneath.
Yeah, the problem is though, you're going under stuff and tunneling through stuff. It's like HS2. They've been talking about it for decades, and it might get built, it might never get built, but it kind of still feels potentially too slow. I like Branson's idea of Hyperloop and whatever, where they it's like a magnetized track, and they can and it goes like 1,000 miles an hour, whatever it does. But I just going back to the superhero bit, I just love the idea of basically putting on my kind of jetpack. You'll get one. You'll get there'll be sponsors all over it. You'll be sponsored. Just kind of taking off and flying. You'd only be able to fly for about 20 minutes because obviously you run out of fuel. So you won't be able to get anywhere that a good walk probably wouldn't get you there as well. But
imagine the fun.
That would be awesome. That would be awesome. And then you can actually be a superhero. Not that you aren't already. Alfie, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thanks so much for coming. I've really enjoyed talking. So it's always a pleasure. And wish you all the best with future self. And keep killing it. And anything we can do to help you, you know where we are. Awesome.
Appreciate
Thanks,
it.
buddy.
Thanks
Cheers
so much.
Thanks a lot. So thanks for listening today, guys. That was me, Alan Barratt, with Paul the Pin. And today we've had the legend that is Alfie Deyes. Thoroughly interesting as always. If you want more business, brand, banter, a little bit of bollocks thrown in, then make sure you subscribe to Paul the Pin.